Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to do a March book haul for you guys. I have been purchasing a lot of books lately, and that probably has a lot to do with the fact that we are all being quarantined right now and unable to leave our homes and unable to socialize with people and all of those crazy things that are going on right now. And that has gotten me into reading more than ever. Our libraries are closed, so you cannot even borrow books from the library right now, which makes it also incredibly challenging. And yeah, it's just been a really strange time. So that being said, I have 30 books to share with you. Now keep in mind, some of these books were purchased at the Salvation Army for a quarter, at our local thrift store for like, I think they sell for like 15 cents to 25 cents depending on the book. So I did not spend a fortune on books, but a couple of books were from Barnes & Noble. I took a trip out to Barnes & Noble a couple of weeks ago before all of this craziness started happening with the coronavirus, and we were actually able to leave our homes, and that was a really nice memory, just spending a couple of hours walking around Barnes & Noble and looking at all the books. That was a nice day. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you all of the books that I purchased over the last probably couple of months, even though I'm sharing it with you at the end of March. Some of these books, a couple may have been from January, maybe a couple from February, but I would say 90% of them were purchased in the month of March. Okay, so here we go. The first book I'm going to share is The Woman in Cabin 10. Actually, this was gifted to me from my mom. This is by Ruth Ware. Really, really great mystery. It takes place on a very small cruise ship, which was fun for me to kind of feel like I was on a cruise ship, being that we can't go on cruises right now, and it's one of my favorite things to do. But it was a really great mystery, kept me captivated, and I also had the Audible version of this, so I was able to kind of flip-flop back and forth between the Audible and the book, and it was really a great story. Another book, A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. This is a book that I purchased for my daughter Emily. She read it for school and then she gave it back to me. But it is a really great story. It's about an old man, and I believe that he is attempting to commit suicide, and he has a neighbor friend or a friend of his who is constantly interrupting that from happening and maybe trying to help him through it. I don't know too much about it other than what my daughter Emily told me, but she said that I really would enjoy the book, so going to be reading it soon. Okay, this is a book that I actually read in January or February. It's The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper. I know that I spoke extensively about this book, and a lot of these I have already spoke about. Typically, when I'm going to read a book, I buy it because I want to have it so long as I know it's something I'm going to really enjoy and possibly want to read again or to share with other people. So that is how I kind of convince myself to buy books, and I just like having the physical copy, so that's what I do. And I'm really glad that I have this copy because I will probably reread this because it was a real feel-good book. And what I'll do is I'll link above and or below my reading wrap-up so that you can learn more about the books that I have already read. I so much enjoyed Phaedra Patrick, who wrote The Curious Charms of Arthur Pepper, that I bought The Library of the Lost and Found. This is a nice hardcover edition, and this was another really, really fun read about a woman who works in a library, and she finds out something about her grandmother. And again, I'll leave links for you guys because I don't want this video to be too long. Again, it's 30 books that I'm sharing, but I really did enjoy this book as well, and I really enjoy the way that Phaedra Patrick writes. This is Red at the Bone by Jacqueline Woodson. This is another hardcover copy. We had to read this for book club, and I did not really love it. Don't know if I really need the hard copy. Might be one that I eventually give away, but it was a story about 3 generations of women, and kind of going through this same time of their life. It's her 16th birthday, and then we learn more about the mom when she was that age, and we learn some stuff about the grandparents too. It wasn't a horrible book. It was very well written. I just did not enjoy the storyline all that much. I purchased this book also for another book club that I'm doing, and this is Daisy Joan and the Six. This was for a neighborhood friend get together. We have our own book club going on, which unfortunately all of my book clubs have come to a halt right now because of everything going on in the world and the inability to get together socially. But if you guys want to check out my Patreon channel, I am doing a little book club of sorts with my patrons for the month of April, and that's going to be really fun, and I'm so looking forward to it. We're just in the process of picking out a book now, and if that's something that you would be interested in doing, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out my Patreon because I'm excited for that. But this was a fun read. It didn't really have much of a plot or storyline. It was an interview with fictional band members, but it was definitely entertaining, and this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have heard that the Audible of this book is excellent though, so if you're interested in listening to it, I would definitely recommend getting the Audible. This is my favorite book right now. I'm so enjoying this book. I've been reading it all week. This is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, and she has a whole bunch of books in this series. This is the very first book. I think it was written in 2008 is when she began this series. I'm pretty sure that was the date, and I'm really enjoying it. It's very like fantasy, mystical. It kind of reminds me a lot of the Twilight books. If you ever read that series, I have them on my bookshelf somewhere over here. Those are really good too, like the vampire werewolf things. But this is about shadow hunters, and they kill demons and protect humans from demons, but there are also werewolves and vampires and monsters, and like it's just very what's the word I want to say? It's just a great fantasy kind of a book. And this is from the Mortal Instruments collection, and I believe the other series this series includes 4 other books, so there's 5 in the Mortal Instruments, and I will likely go ahead and end up purchasing the rest. And then the next is the Infernal Devices, which are 3 books. So I don't know, I'm really into it and I'm really enjoying it, so it's been a great escape. A book that I purchased from a thrift store, it's The Sentimental Education by Gustav Flaubert, and I just thought that this would be a great book to have because it's like a classic, and I really did like the storyline. It is set in the Revolution of 1848, and I believe it is about a woman that is having an affair with her husband's friend, and how that all plays out. So I don't know, it sounded interesting to me, and I believe it was like 20 cents, so I got it. Okay, some more used books that I purchased. I actually listened to Northanger Abbey on Audible, and I really enjoyed it so much, so I had to have the book, and I love this edition of it. I know that Jane Austen's books are in this series, like in this edition of book covers, but this is the only one I could find. If I could get the whole collection, I would, because I just really love the cover of this book. And I want to read this probably if I do Jane Austen July this year, because there is a challenge on YouTube where you read a series of Jane Austen related books in July, so I thought I would be prepared for that, and I really want to read the book because I so much enjoyed the Audible. And something else just gearing up for Jane Austen July is the biography of Jane Austen by Elizabeth Jenkins. I have heard that this is one of the best and truest biographies out there, so I wanted to get this as well, and it's also a used edition. Okay, these books are so pretty. This is Selected Poems of Emily Dickinson, and it's just this little tiny book. I thought it would be perfect. It's so pretty too, look at the gold foiling. But I thought it would be perfect to keep in my purse just to have something to read if I'm like, well, I'm not stuck in my car much these days, but usually I am stuck at school pickup for a while or doctor's appointments or things like that. But since I don't leave the house, eventually I'll have a reason to read this, pull it out of my purse when I'm waiting for something. And these were from my Barnes & Noble adventure when I got to go to Barnes & Noble for a couple of hours. I picked up this copy of Persuasion by Jane Austen. Look at how beautiful this is. I love it. And I just want to show you the inside. So beautifully done. This was, I think, the only Jane Austen book that I didn't have. And when I saw this copy of it, I knew I had to have it. So I think I'm pretty much all set for Jane Austen July. I'm gonna have to do it this year. I love this edition. And her other books also come in this same type of book cover, which is so beautiful. But I didn't invest in all of them. I just got this one because this one was the last one that I needed. Okay, there are 2 books that I don't have with me because I loaned them out that I recently purchased, and one is Educated, and I'll just leave a picture of it here. I do believe that I spoke about it in a previous video. Really a great book. It's a memoir about this girl Tara, and I can't think of her last name right now, but it was really a great story. And then also Bridget Jones's Diary, which I have the Audible and listened to it and was so entertained by it for a few days. I just listened to it consistently, car rides and stuff. And of course I saw the movie, most of us probably have, so I really wanted to have the actual book. So I don't have that with me, but that is another one that I have out on loan right now that I recently purchased. Okay, so the rest of the books that I have were truly inspired by middle grade March. Some of them were books that I read during middle grade March. I'll leave a link to that video above if you want to see it. So if you're not into middle grade books, I guess I can say goodbye right now. Thanks for watching. I hope you come back again for another bookish video. But I was really excited to get the entire series of Anne of Green Gables. I was never able to get all of the books. I have like certain books, but not like all of them in a row. I have like, I think from another edition, I have 1, 3, and 5 or something. So this is all of them. And it is the first book, Anne of Green Gables. And then book number 2, Anne of Avalonia. The third one is Anne of the Island. And then we have Anne of Windy Poplars. And then book number 5, Anne's House of Dreams. And then book number 6, Anne of Ingleside. So I thought these would be great books to read over the spring and summer months. Anne just puts me in such a good mood. Her books are usually pretty uplifting, even though sometimes they can get deep and, you know, they deal with real life topics that aren't always pleasant, but overall Anne puts me in a good mood. So I'm happy that I found all of those books, and I got those at a thrift store, and I think I got the whole collection for just a few dollars, so that was a score. And then I found this, Christmas with Anne. I found this at the Salvation Army. And it's a hardcover book, and it's a compilation of a whole bunch of short stories that were published, I think, in newspapers and magazines that were written by L.M. Montgomery back in the day. So I think this is going to be a great collection of stories to read over the holidays. And I think most of them are like holiday related in one way or another. Okay, and then this book is called Gone Away Lake. I heard another YouTuber talking about this, and it sounded like something I would really be interested in, and especially since we have a lake house, I thought this would be fun to read out loud to Madison. I thought this would be a fun read aloud book with my daughter Madison because it does take place in a lake house kind of a setting. A Little Princess was a book that was referred to a lot in a recent book that I read called The Girl Who Drank the Moon, so it had me interested in reading this story. I did see the movie with Shirley Temple when I was little, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm excited to read the book. This is by Frances Hodgson Burnett. One of my YouTube friends recommended this book by E.L. Coningsburg. It's Jennifer, Hecate, Macbeth, William McKinley, and me, Elizabeth. She said it was a really good book to read around Halloween time, and I believe it's something about a witch. I think there's some kind of witchcraft or something in it, but it definitely sounds like it is right up my alley, the type of a story that I would like. She said I probably would really enjoy it, and she knows my reading taste, so thank you for the referral. I bought it immediately. It was like $3.99 from Amazon. And then John Gardner's Grendel. This is just a classic that I thought would be good to have on my bookshelf. Bought it for $1 from the Salvation Army, so couldn't pass that up, especially since it was in such great condition. And I just spoke about The Girl Who Drank the Moon. This is one of my picks for middle grade March. This is by Kelly Barnhill, and you can learn lots about this book if you go check out my middle grade March videos. And also another middle grade March pick, Pages & Co., The Book Wanderers by Anna James. This book was so enchanting and beautiful and fun to read, and she does have a second book that follows this that I will probably end up getting at some point in time. And then this book, The Read Aloud Family, I recently purchased. It's by Sarah Mackenzie. Since I was doing so much reading in March with my daughter Madison, who was 9, I was interested to learn more about how important it is to read aloud to your children, no matter their age, from the time they're in your belly until their teen years. This talks all about the importance of that, as well as lots of book recommendations that are very appropriate for reading aloud in the back. So that was super helpful, because not all books are created to be read aloud, and some are more entertaining than others. So that was really, really helpful, and I really enjoyed reading this book. And then on that note, I've been trying to find other books that I could read aloud with my daughter, and one that I chose was Rabbit Hill. I thought this was a fun choice for the upcoming month of April and for Easter. This is by Robert Lawson, and it is about a rabbit and his family, and they live at a house where new people are coming in, and I guess it's about their adventures trying to live with a new family. And Pippi Longstockings, I figured I couldn't go wrong with this book. It's very entertaining and comical. This is by Astrid Lindgren, and I think this is going to be a really fun read aloud book. I do believe it was one of the recommendations that was recommended by the Read Aloud family, so it should be a lot of fun. Wow, I think I got through that pretty quick, but I am losing my voice. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing all of the books that I purchased over the last month or so. Like I said, there were 30 there. I think 9 of them were middle grade books, but they are all good choices, I think. There were a couple that I really thought I was going to enjoy more than I did, but you know, you just never know what you're getting into with a book. Some books, I read the reviews and people are loving it, and I just don't get into it at all. And then there are other times where people don't really seem to like the book, and I give it a try anyway, and I end up loving it. So I guess we all have our own opinions in the way that books make us feel. And at this time, I am looking for real feel-good books, which is why I think I ended up buying so many middle grade books, because they are really a great escape at a time where I'm feeling a lot of stress and anxiety. I don't want to read a book that's going to bring me down even more. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and check out my Patreon book club that I'm doing right now if you're interested, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, let me know if you've read any of the books that I shared today, and that's it. Take care. Bye.